This happened in late 2022. I was 24 years old working as a night shift cleaner at a mid-sized hospital in Ohio. I'm not going to say the name for privacy reasons, but it was one of those old buildings, the kind with endless hallways, linoleum floors that echo under your shoes, and buzzing fluorescent lights that flicker when no one's around. I just started the job a couple of months before. Mostly it was quiet. My shift ran from 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., and honestly, I didn't mind the solitude. I could listen to music, take my time, and finish all the floors by 5 if I stayed focused. The only downside? The hospital had a feeling. It sounds dumb, but some places just feel wrong. Especially after midnight. Especially when you're the only one on the floor. Most of my routine was predictable. First floor, ER, always a little busy. Second floor, administration, quiet. Third floor, inpatient rooms. And then the fifth floor, maternity and newborns. Yeah, you heard that right. No fourth floor. I noticed it the first week and asked one of the nurses about it. She just shrugged and said, superstition or something. Old hospital. People say the fourth floor is bad luck. I laughed it off. Until last December. That was the night I stopped thinking it was a joke. It started around 2:30 a.m. I just finished mopping the surgical hallway on the third floor and was heading toward the elevator. I remember because I was starving and thinking about what snack I had left in my locker. I hit the button. Waited. When the elevator arrived, the doors opened and the panel inside caught my eye. All the usual buttons were there, B, 1, 2, 3, 5. But now there was a 4. A button I knew wasn't there before. I actually stepped back and looked at the hallway sign. Yep, I was still on the third floor. So why was there a 4 now? I stepped in slowly. I didn't press it at first. I just stood there, staring at the button. No one had mentioned renovations and we weren't allowed on any restricted floors without clearance. Curiosity got the better of me. I pressed 4. The elevator doors shut. There was a pause and then it started moving. But something was wrong. I worked that elevator every night. It moved smoothly between floors. But this time it jerked. Like it was going somewhere different. The kind of jolt you feel in your bones. The fluorescent light inside flickered. Once. Twice. And then it went black. Just for a moment. And when it came back on, I was still moving. Ding. The doors slid open. There was no sign. No floor label. Just a dim hallway stretching left and right. No sounds. No lights on in the rooms. Just a soft red glow from the exit signs. It didn't feel like the rest of the hospital. No linoleum. The floor was concrete. Unfinished. The walls looked old. Moldy even. It didn't feel abandoned. It felt forgotten. And here's the part one still can't explain. There was a cart in the hallway. A medical cart. It was old. Rusted. The drawers were pulled out and there were bandage wrappers and dark, dry stains like old blood. I told myself it was just storage. Maybe some old wing they closed off. I was about to hit the elevator button when I heard it. A whisper. Clear as day. Help me. I froze. I didn't even breathe. It had come from the hallway to the left. And yeah, I should have left. Should have hit that button and gone back down and pretended none of this ever happened. But I didn't. I called out, hello? Is someone there? No answer. I took a step out of the elevator. Then another. The air was cold, colder than the rest of the hospital. Every step I took echoed like I was walking in a cave. The hallway turned left and led to a closed door. A patient room. Room number 423. Again, weird. There shouldn't be a 400 wing. The door was slightly open. I pushed it. Inside was a hospital bed. The kind with metal rails. Old. There were yellowed sheets pulled up and under them the shape of a person. I stepped closer. And then. The sheets sat up. All I saw was a face. Or what used to be a face. Sunken. Pale. Black eyes. No lips. Just teeth. Exposed and wide. It whispered again. Help me. And then it screamed. I ran. Full on sprinted back down the hallway. The lights overhead started popping one by one. I could hear something behind me, heavy footsteps. Dragging like wet feet on tile. But I didn't look back. I jumped into the elevator and slammed the one button. The doors wouldn't close. I hit the button again. And again. I heard it coming closer. And then the doors finally shut. The elevator dropped so fast I nearly hit the floor. When the doors opened, I was back in the lobby. The security guard at the front desk looked confused. He said I looked pale. Like I'd seen a ghost. I asked him if there was any construction going on, any restricted fourth floor. He shook his head and said, there's no fourth floor. Hasn't been since '91? Apparently, a fire broke out in a psych wing that used to be there. Killed 3 patients and a nurse. They sealed it off. Renumbered the floors to forget about it. I didn't believe him. So the next day I went back. In the daylight. Tried to take the same elevator. Number 4 button. Not even a spot where it would have been. So, what the hell happened? Was it a dream? A hallucination? I don't think so. I found a listing online later that month. An old article from 1991. A nurse named Karen Elston died in a fire. She was last seen trying to get patients out of room 423. That's the room I found. I don't clean that hospital anymore. But sometimes, in my dreams, I still hear the whisper. Help me. It's been about 5 months since the night I found the 4th floor. Or rather, since the 4th floor found me. I've tried to put it behind me. Told myself it was stress, lack of sleep, overworked imagination. But something's changed since then. Little things. Things I can't ignore anymore. Like how the elevator in my apartment building sometimes stops between floors for a second, just long enough for the light to flicker. Or how I've started seeing a room number in my dreams. 423. Over. And over. The dream that wasn't. 2 weeks ago I had a nightmare. At least, I thought it was a nightmare. In it I was lying in a hospital bed. Room 423. The ceiling was stained. The heart monitor flatlined. Then she appeared. The woman from that night. Sunken skin. Black, bleeding eyes. But now she was closer. Whispering something I couldn't understand. And this time she didn't scream. She leaned down, face to face with mine, and whispered. You left me. I woke up drenched in sweat. And the worst part? When I opened my eyes, there was a red hospital bracelet around my wrist. Room 423. Date of admission. Blank. I tore it off and threw it in the trash. The next morning, it was back on the bathroom counter. I needed answers. I couldn't take it anymore. I started digging. Hospital archives. Local news. Even an old Reddit thread about missing wings in hospitals. I found a comment from a guy who claimed to work at the same hospital back in the early 90s. He mentioned a woman named Karen Elston, the nurse who died in the fire. But what really got me was this. Karen wasn't supposed to be on duty that night. She came in after a phone call. Said someone asked her to help a patient in room 423. But there was no patient in that room. There hadn't been for weeks. It didn't make sense. Unless this wasn't just a haunting. Unless this was something repeating. A loop. Return trip. I went back to the hospital. I don't know why. I guess part of me needed closure. Needed to know I hadn't imagined all of it. I took the same elevator, but of course, the 4th floor button wasn't there. I stood there staring, and then I said her name aloud. Karen. The elevator jolted. Just like last time. And the 4 lit up on its own. The doors shut. The real room 423. This time, the hallway wasn't empty. I saw 4 stands tipped over. Wheelchairs facing the wall. Beds covered in sheets like they'd been hiding something underneath. The same red glow lit the corridor. Only this time I wasn't alone. There were figures. Patients. Shadowed. Standing motionless in their rooms. Some were looking at me. One turned its head. Backwards. I ran past them. Down the hall to room 423. The door was shut. I opened it. And there she was. Karen. But not like before. This time she looked human. Her skin pale, her eyes tired, but alive. She was sitting beside an empty hospital bed, holding a clipboard. She looked up at me and said, "You're late for your shift." Her warning. I stammered out, "What is this? What's happening?" She stood slowly, walked over, put her hand on my chest, cold, and said, "You saw what you weren't supposed to. Now she sees you too." I asked, "Who?" Karen turned her head toward the window in the room. There was nothing there, just darkness. She whispered, "She doesn't forget the ones who leave." Then everything went black. Back to reality? I woke up in my own bed. Except, there was dirt on my shoes. Hospital floor grime. And on my shirt a faint stain. Like ash. I ran to the bathroom. On my wrist? The bracelet. But this time, it didn't say room 423. It said, 4th floor, admitted, 3:23 a.m., status, watch list. Final warning. I haven't gone back since. But I swear I still hear the elevator sometimes in places that don't have elevators. That dull ding, the buzz of old lights. And last night, I found my name scratched onto my bathroom mirror. Backwards. Like it came from the other side. If you ever find yourself in a hospital and the elevator shows a fourth floor that shouldn't exist, don't get out. Don't speak. And whatever you do, don't say her name. Because once you do, she knows yours too.